Let's do the best we can in everything we do. And then when you see things succeed or something great come out, that's fabulous. You know, all of us have a choice. Why wouldn't you do the best you can? Why wouldn't you? You know, that just drove the point home to me. I mean, after that, it's like, what do you do? It's like, you do the best you can. That's it. That is it.
I'm Asha Gabriel, and this is Sell With, presented by TrueParity. In this series, we meet with some of the top agents in the real estate industry. We pull back the curtain and really figure out what it is that makes them so successful at what they're doing. Today, I'm in beautiful San Diego, California, and we're meeting with the Jason Berry team. We'll be talking with Jason, Ryan, and Kendra, and really getting into the nitty-gritty. We want to understand why they are the #1 team in San Diego. Oh my goodness, this is such an incredible view. Tell me a little bit about this listing before we start.
Well, so this is interesting. We're here in Del Mar, and it's funny, the way we represent this property, it's so spectacular, as you can see, this is what we believe when people think of Del Mar, we think this is what they dream of when they're thinking of it.
So great. Well, for our audience, how about you guys introduce yourselves and kind of how you've come together on a team?
Sure. Kendra, you want to go ahead?
I'm Kendra Gibelisco, and happy to be a part of this great team.
And so I'm Jason Berry of the Jason Berry team, and privileged to have Kendra as a partner, and privileged to have Ryan McGovern as a partner of the team.
So Jason and I have worked together for about 10 years, and Kendra about 8. Yeah, Ryan McGovern, I reside in Del Mar, steps away from this beautiful spot, and it's my happy place.
I love it. So how did you guys come together to work together? I feel like finding, the three of you, they always say that like a tripod is the strongest shape, in geometry. Explain a little bit about how you came together and your working relationship.
So what's interesting is, so when I started in the business, got my license back in 1992 and then full-time 1994 after graduating college, I had the privilege of working with my mother and learning the business from my mother. When she started slowing down in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, we were both discussing that we needed to find, someone to help support the team of our efforts of what we were doing. And interestingly enough, at that time, I've known Kendra for at least half my life now, and I've always seen her and was always pushing her to try and get back in the business, which she wasn't. She was so busy raising 4 kids. Ryan, I had the privilege of getting to know when he sought me out when he was the head of sales for a high-end exclusive resorts community called Exclusive Resorts, selling kind of part-time residences throughout the world. And he had fabulous ideas that he was coming to me with in terms of marketing. We could do some great synergistic things. We started making offers to Ryan, and then I'm happy to say we finally convinced him to come back and live in the place we believe that is the best place to sell, live, and enjoy your lifestyle. And so that's how that started with Ryan. Kendra, I needed that other balance. What my mom brought was incredible knowledge, a wonderful, genuine person, and someone that related to people, and likewise to what we were pushing, did what she believed, sold, lived what she believed. And so when I continued going after and courting her, Ryan and I were talking about it, we finally convinced her to join the team as well. And that finalized, as you've said, the tripod, which is wonderful. And so that's how we have it. We have this incredible balance and energy and synergy that we have working together.
I love it. Speaking of amazing place to live, the Pacific Surfliner train just like drives by in the background. Classic Del Mar.
We have it on
that.
payroll.
Yeah, so I mean, it's so clear that you're all very passionate about this area. Can you tell us a little bit about just what makes San Diego as a whole so special, Del Mar, the different neighborhoods that you specialize in? Just paint the picture of what it's like to work down here and why you're so passionate.
Obviously, we're selling what we think is really a spectacular, happy lifestyle. Safety, security, access to amenities, access to health, to schools, to education, to all of the outdoor experiences that people dream of and think of when they think of living in Southern California. And then San Diego, a little bit more understated. And that's kind of what San Diego is, to us, but once again, still with the access to amenities, still with the fabulous weather, and just a beautiful, safe, secure lifestyle.
Can you tell us a little bit more about like the way that you acquire listings and maybe how you see TrueParity playing into that?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, obviously going after listings, it's changed throughout the years. Like back in the 90s compared to now, it's a completely different ballgame. When I got back into the business of the 90s, it was the era of cold calling and rejection, a lot more rejection, than we're facing now, which was wonderful because that's where you learn, and to be fully transparent, once again, when I first got in the business, I hated this business. I did not like this business because I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it, and I didn't understand, I was a young man at the time, and I didn't understand the importance, and I wasn't appreciating what business really meant. And that's the beautiful thing about real estate, is it really is the opportunity of business in general and capitalism. If you put yourself into it, commit yourself to it, to learn and do the best you can, you will learn so much, about yourself, about the business, and wonderful things happen. And once again, if you follow and guide yourself by certain principles that you do believe in, as we do, good things happen.
I think we embrace technology. I think we're students of the game, right? So we listen to podcasts. We're trying to find what's cutting edge and trying it in our business, seeing if it makes the machine run faster, as Jason said. And I think we're radically transparent with each other. We prepare, we're ready. We talk about who's coming in or who the seller is and what dynamics will bridge this together. We don't let deals die. And I think when you think about real estate, you need to be an endurance athlete. You need to be committed, you need to be ready for everything, and you've got to put your whole heart and soul behind it to achieve the level of success that we do.
Absolutely.
And I think tied in with that, it's very well said, but we do not quit.
Yeah.
We do not quit. Especially, once again, if it's something you believe in, you do not quit. So that goes back to the third pillar of Warren Buffett, energy, persistence overcoming resistance. But likewise, that's why when we got the call for TrueParity and we investigated it, this is something that we believe can elevate our game, that we believe it's something that will enhance the whole process and experience of real estate sales as it interacts and engages for our clients too. So we believe there's a wonderful synergy with TrueParity as well. So, once again, I had the privilege of starting to work for my parents, and they'd started a company. It was a very small little boutique company, and I was making calls at the time, trying to generate business, generate listings. You're saying, how do you get these listings? Well, back then, it was based on cold calls. You would try and call and pitch your ideas, why they should consider you. And back then, I ran into many obstacles that were wonderful obstacles where I learned so many valuable lessons. And rejection was a huge one, and how to overcome the rejection. One funny story too is when I got a call and I was actually, expletives were used against me on a phone call from a wonderful Dr. Martin, I'll never forget. God rest his soul, now that he's passed, and this was back in the 90s. When he let me have it, and it's kind of twofold in terms of the lesson I learned, but what you mentioned about real estate agents, what is the idea the public has of real estate agents? Well, myself at the time, I wasn't so sure. And then I thought, well, the idea, if I'm going into business, I want it to be respectful. I want to appreciate it and respect it. So how do you do that? By doing what you believe. You have to do what you believe, get behind what you believe. And so during the call with Dr. Martin, and he was yelling expletives at me, you realtors are worthless, your call, you can't do anything. You can't even fix my broken sprinklers, and he hung up on me. Boom, broken sprinklers. He's got broken sprinklers. He left an opening. I was educating myself every night at Barnes & Noble at the marketing and sales section. I was bartending at night, trying to earn extra money, and I couldn't afford to buy the books, but I was going to Barnes & Noble trying to get an idea every single night and then implement. One of the books I was reading said, look for the opening, look for something. Well, he gave me an opening. He had a broken sprinkler system. I went over to a gardener that I knew, Juan, and I said, hey, come with me, I think I can get you a new job. Let's go over here. Went over to Dr. Martin's house, rang the gate. He asked who it was, and I said, I'm here to help you fix your sprinkler system. There was a pause, and then he opened the gate, said, come on in. In I went. After about a couple hours of talking, the gardener, who was fabulous, he said he could take care of everything. I thought, yes, this is great. And then Dr. Martin said, great, so you're a landscaper, we can get you hired. I said, actually, Dr. Martin, I'm not. I'm in real estate, and I'd love to show you my ideas, my passion, my commitment. Number one is the pictures you have in the MLS are the wrong pictures. You're not pushing it right. I've got some other ideas that I think it needs to be pushed to really expose it to the market in a better light. And thus, the journey began really for me based on experiences like that. And then I would set goals after that, moving on and moving forward. And Ryan and Kendra have similar stories. But that is the mindset with which that we go about and go after listings. If it's something we believe in and we want, we will not quit.
To work in real estate here, and to have your level of success, you obviously have to be really passionate about what it means to live here and to work with clients here. Kendra, can you tell us a little bit about your experience, raising a family here and building a business here?
I have 4 kids and have lived in several of the neighborhoods that we sell in, so I have firsthand knowledge. Between us, we have 10 kids, so we know a lot about the
Entire
schools
generation.
and activities, and yeah, it's a great place to raise a family. And I love sharing my knowledge about the schools and activities for kids, especially buyers from out of the area, kind of concierge service, set them up.
Totally.
Even I do friend setups too.
We look at it that we are also wealth advisors and protectors. What we like to do is protect our clients' investment. And so what that means is if they're hiring us and it's important for them to recognize they need someone that has the knowledge. You have to have the knowledge. For instance, you should be able to speak firsthand about what those comparable sales are, about what the comparable active homes are. Do they know them? Do they know the history behind it? That is important information to know because that relates to value. Information related to location, information related to finishes, to fixtures, to who was involved with the design. Every 5,000 square foot home on a lot is not worth the same. There could be one that is sold and some people will say, well, how does that home sell for $800 a square foot and you sold the other one for $2,000? There's a reason. And you have to be able to explain that reason. And if you can't explain that reason, how can you justify the price? And so that is a critical factor that does distinguish, I think, top agents from new agents. The new agents, they just don't have that information yet. They don't have that experience. They don't know how to deal with the different agents in different markets. Have they had the experience of running through in the 90s, the type of market that we had there, the internet bubble that came through, the financial crisis of 2008, and then going to what we're experiencing now in the banks? We've experienced the ups and the downs. There are changes you need to incorporate and make to address and attack each change. Using those different strategies, incorporating and employing those makes a difference in getting a return on money. Also, understanding the whole negotiating aspect of it is very important. And to Ryan's point and Kendra's point of knowing about the buyer, it's important to know what is their motivation. Why are they buying this? Are they buying this as a main residence? Are they buying this as a second residence? How important is this home to them? That's important because then you can read into how badly do they want this house. Do they have to have it or they don't have to have it? You really need to analyze it in as many and close of a detail as you can before you can appropriately respond on behalf of your client to give them the best advice. It matters. Experience matters. When any seller is looking to sell their home, what they're looking to do is try and achieve the highest price possible in the shortest duration of time, period. That is their goal. And to achieve that, they need to make sure that who they're looking to represent them has the experience, has the ability, has the quality to go ahead and represent that to achieve those goals. And unfortunately, you have a lot of confusion out there in the market right now in terms of with internet sites like Zillow that will put agents on out there and will pair them because of marketing to pair them with a property to be shown or whatnot. And unfortunately, they have no knowledge not only of that home, but of the local area, of the sales, of truly how to represent that buyer or seller. And so it is very important for sellers. I think if we were sellers, we would want someone to be representing our interest. They should have the knowledge. They should know what the comparable homes are for sale. They should know what the comparable homes that have sold for. They should have experience in selling these homes so they know what to do. They should be able to really analyze this in terms of just looking at experience does matter. It does matter in a situation like that because right away, the agents that are on TrueParity are already the top agents that have the experience. So it's nice as sellers, you're going straight to the platform, cutting through all the minutia because these agents that they're looking for to hire them have the experience. They are the ones with the sale, and the preparation and the way they're presented are as or even more critical. One thing that we notice out there, to give away a tidbit of something that we do, is we use less photos. A mistake that most agents use, and you'll find this all over Zillow, is they have 40 or 50 photos. That's a mistake. You're doing too many. The purpose of the photo is to drive intrigue and desire. That's it. And from there, if the person's interested in it, then they should call you. And that's what we do and that's what we want. One complaint we'll get is we don't use enough photos. That is intentional.
Right.
That is intentional because we are there to provide the best photos we can. So that is all in the presentation, but going back to how that's presented. And then from there, we then have the seller, we engage with the seller in a certain way that we want them to help us present and prepare it in a certain way that distinguishes it. And so there's some little secrets that we do there that I'm not going to give away right here.
We do offer a concierge service. We help sellers coordinate the painters and the handyman and the electrician. We have great referrals.
You can choose from this, and this contractor, but from our clients' experiences and this many transactions, this is the guy that gets it done for the lowest price and on time.
But
that comes from knowledge.
And not only that, though, we can make them jump. Because we do so much business, they want our business, so we can pull them off and get them off other things to move fast and efficient.
Yeah. Well, talking about trends, on a more macro level, what are some things that you're seeing in the market, in the real estate market, things that you're doing to keep, your strategy and your team's focus on kind of the cutting edge?
So one of the things that I think is really important right now is the concept of technology in real estate, and there are many, many articles about this. Jason, Kendra, and I think we would all agree that half of our time is spent in the car. So we're often listening to podcasts. And right now, the hot technology that's talked about a lot is ChatGPT. And so we're really looking at that and trying to infuse the best of that, but it's the wild, wild west right now. So how do we use it? What do we do? The jury's out, but we're trying things like equations of which emojis are most likely to get us the best social media post positioning when doing a post in Del Mar, California? Or should we be talking about the reasons to live here? All stuff that we know, but what we want is exposure for our sellers. So whatever the system and the tech bots or whatever you want to call them, GPT, are saying, we want to try it and we want to test it and see if it works, because in the end, the most exposure is going to have the most eyes and the best shot of achieving their goal, the fastest sales time, the highest price. So we're constantly evaluating that week in, week out. We talk about it every week in our marketing meetings. And we're nimble. There's no red tape. We go, we try stuff, and if it works, we run with it.
Okay, well, I've given you each arrows, so we're gonna play a fun game where I'm gonna ask some prompts, some questions, and the person that you think my prompt most applies to, just point your arrow over to. I'd love to see if you guys all agree on the roles you guys play as a team. I think especially as a team of 3 people, it's hard to find the right team members, and I think it's so crucial that you have complementary skills when you're working with someone. So I thought this would be a fun way to kind of pull out who does what on your team. So everybody ready? Arrows up?
Ready.
Okay. All right. First, which of you shows up earliest to a listing appointment? Which of you is most likely to be late? I love it.
Justifiably, though, but anyway.
Yeah.
4 kids.
Four
Four kids,
right.
and it takes a little longer to get this ready.
Hair.
Thank you.
Yes, that's
Totally.
fine.
Who is the toughest negotiator?
Going with Jason.
Yeah.
Love that. Where do you think you've learned your negotiating skills more than anything?
It's funny that they both point to me, but I've learned from them too, in addition to the past from my mother, who's actually very soft, but believe it or not, from a lot from what I've read. And then, but it goes back to what I believe. What I believe, this is right, I think this should happen, and these are the reasons why.
All right, who has the best sense of style and design?
Probably Kendra,
I
yeah.
think Jason.
Ooh. Wow, thank you.
And she's humble about it. I love
No
it.
kidding. That's-
Who answers their phone the quickest?
Really?
Well, actually,
I would go, yes, I would.
okay.
I go both. I think they're both really.
Yeah.
That's great. Who can best navigate San Diego without using a map?
All of us, yeah. You know what? That's a good, you're right.
Who can do real estate math in their head the quickest?
Ooh, Jason's fast.
I love it. Great quality. Who is the first one to hear about new activity in the market?
I'd say all of us.
Yeah.
I'd say Ryan's really good, Kendra, all that. I'd say, all of us.
watch it like a
everybody. I mean, the information, once again, on Slack that Ryan introduced, I mean, boom, he is on it with us, Kendra's on it, everybody's we get information so fast for each other.
We share it all.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a race. It's a race that's out there, so it's a race to get that information. And then the advantage that a professional that is sold or agents at the top can bring is they have the access to their data From, for us, it goes back to the 90s. We have 29 years of experience. We have over $5.5 billion in sales to go back to, and then we tie that into speed with which we're all trying to be as fast as we can with information. And it's, when something comes up, we're trying to find up options, we will find many more options too. It just gives us that advantage.
That's great. On like a day-to-day basis, how are you sharing that information? So you use Slack? Are you going to Slack on your phone and saying like, oh, I know about this off market, and it's like a channel that you all share?
Very active on Slack.
We have channels for every listing, instant feedback for each other as soon as we show a house. It helps us redirect and think through the good, the bad, or the redirect. In fact, the people that were here looking at this house were a result of that before you guys got here. They're clients of ours. We've sold them a few homes. She called and said her brother was looking for a home, and here they are. We directed them to this house because we knew they wanted Del Mar and they wanted the best of Del Mar. And he had a specific type of car that he wants in a garage that needs to be able to fit on the driveway, and it all happened fast.
I love that.
But ironically, we brought him, to Ryan's point, from another listing. With the synergy of these other properties, we brought him back to this because of what he was describing. But then back to information for Slack, it's also the way our office is set up. Our office is set up like a trading floor. It's all open. So it's an open trading floor of information is what it is. So we are exchanging everything as fast as possible, which we love.
Who spends the most time checking social media?
Kendra, I would say.
Yeah,
She said,
You have 4 kids that are like college age.
They check it for
like
me.
right?
But I think
be a
all of us-
detective.
But I think all of us do because
We're aware of what's going on, but I don't.
Yeah, but we encourage it.
take
We
over my day.
encourage checking
Yeah.
social media as it relates to what we do. We encourage all of our assistants. We actually do contests in the office rewarding any of the assistants, any of the interns, whoever comes up with the best ideas for marketing any of the homes on social media. So it's something that we encourage, we're pushing, and obviously we're trying to do it in a positive light.
There
So.
you go. I love it. Which person do you think keeps their head the most calm in the most stressful situations? Because even with the best clients, sometimes situations get stressful.
I'm gonna have to go with Jason. I mean,
Jason.
we're, can I say that we're
Yes.
involved in probably the most complicated,
It's the biggest deal of our career, period. And as Ryan is saying, the most complicated deal that we've had in escrow since November.
Wow.
It has been canceled over 6 times. And once again, we saw the end, and we believe that it needs to happen. The reasons for the cancellation, as far as we were concerned, were not really justified. They didn't really make sense. So we believed calmer heads would prevail. We believed reason would prevail as long as the time presented itself with which we could have the opportunity to express our point of view. That occurred on those 6+ occasions, and we would not quit. Although everybody else quit, including the attorneys on both sides that quit, we would not.
There's a problem.
Yeah. And so this is a deal with which, I mean, it's, like I said, it's the biggest deal of our career. We just signed NDAs, so we can't discuss the deal, but what was involved in it was amazing and very rewarding, and I can't be more proud of the 3 of us for getting this done, in addition to our team that we have there. And this is something that our team's unaware of, that actually it is closed as of today.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's great. What a moment to
Yes,
celebrate.
we got it.
job.
I love it. Ryan, Kendra, can you tell me some stories about just like that human side of deal making and learning in this industry?
So I think another strength that we collectively have is when you think about business, the most successful people I've seen have, I'll call it a star chart, right? Where they understand which constellations are interconnected. So when we meet a client or a seller or a buyer, we're aware if they're into wine, and are they old world or new world? What sort of cars are they enthusiastic about? Do they play tennis? Where do they play tennis? Where do they go to college? Right? And it gives us talking points to, I think, disarm people in a positive way and connect with them. And then when we're thinking about a prospective buyer for their house or a house that they want, it's not just what's on the MLS. That opens a whole world of pocket opportunities for us, just based on our court awareness, to use a sports analogy.
I listen, you know,
Yeah.
and I can feel, I'm sensitive, and I feel like I can put people together with the right location and amenities, and you just, security is important for families. I'm a big fan of gated neighborhoods, and so it's fun. I love that part of the business.
We had a property, the buyer came through, and loved it. Then they had to have their feng shui master come through the property. The feng shui master did not approve of the position of the pool because I believe, if I recall correctly, the dragon's energy coming through was not flowing correctly.
Okay.
And as a result, that tied in with a bigger component was the address. The address, which was tied to their numerology. So feng shui ties into numbers numerology, became a critical obstacle. When I found that out, and then I also found out that was, and it was the early 2000s when I found out that one of the most ideal numbers, or the most ideal number, was the Infinity 8. What I decided at that point was, okay, well, let's once again break it down to first principles. Can we change the address? Went down to the county, found out, yes, let's change the address. Great, let's change it to where all the numbers add up to 8. We did it, and we sold it. Boom, deal was done.
Buyers love homes that are seamless, clean. Organization is very important, so we'll go through and help the seller edit. And oftentimes it's just removing things, not bringing in staging, just so the buyer can envision themselves in the home. And we educate our sellers on that. We try to speak to the senses of the buyers, you know, smell, definitely very important. Sight, sound, we like playing background music and just make it feel relaxing and try to appeal to their emotions.
That's so
We'll
interesting.
do fireplaces or light candles or turn the jacuzzi on, waterfalls, anything to make the person, you know, feel relaxed and at home.
All right, well, I have had such a wonderful time speaking with all three of you. I think you are a really dynamic, wonderful team. It's so great to see the inner workings of how you work together. But I always love to ask really successful people about their why, their reasons why they do what they do, what really drives their success and wakes them up in the morning. So I'd love if each of you, I'll start with Ryan, can share, you know, what is your why? What's your reason for being in this business and doing what you do?
So I think I'd put my why into 3 easy categories. The first is keeping my brain fresh. Every day in this business, you're problem solving in some way, shape, or form, so you're always thinking and it keeps your mind fresh. It makes you grow. Number 2 is I love being associated with a positive experience for people. So after the fact, whether it's a seller or a buyer, running into them in society, seeing them see Kendra, Jason, or me, and saying, this is my guy, this is our team, we love them, they made our life better. What greater compliment is there than that? And then lastly, the real why for me is my family. I could never do this without the support of my wife. She's my rock. And my daughters, they're 8 and 11. When I walk in the door daily, they stop what they're doing and they give me what I call the welcome wagon, which is a big hug. They think their dad's a real estate superhero. And there's no better feeling in my life. I didn't even know I had that love in my heart that they give me in that moment. I know it's not gonna last forever, but that fuels me to go out there and do this for them, and for our clients.
Thank you, Ryan. What about you, Kendra? What is your why for being in this business?
Well, I have 4 kids and I want the best for them. I work really hard thinking of them every day. I love to be a role model for my kids. They're my biggest cheerleaders, and that, and then the whole experience of working with a great team. I wake up every day and I can't wait to go to work. I truly love what I do.
And it's hard to find.
Yes.
And a great role model for children. You know, I really
Right.
believe
Yeah.
as you were saying, you know, our kids watch us and they feel the energy that we're waking up with.
Special.
Yeah. Jason, what about you?
I love what Ryan and Kendra both said, and I would kind of emulate both of those. I think it's fabulous. I mean, for me, my why changed. It changed in 2019 when I lost my wife, when I lost my mother and my dad. And for me, it was total destruction. So I, at that moment, realized, for the first time I think in my life, that I had a choice. We have choices. We have choices to do whatever you want. If you're not happy about something, change it. And so I knew right then I had one choice, and that one choice was to do the absolute best I could with my 4 kids. We were gonna move forward honoring my deceased wife, my mother, my father, making the best choices we could, to do the best we could, to honor them, to honor ourselves. That was the only choice. And now, you know, what's added to that is I'm happily remarried, and so to incorporate my new wife into that as well, it's fabulous. You know, I just have this privilege of being able to do what I love, what I've learned so much about. It's so ironic that what I started out saying, I didn't enjoy this business. I love this business. What how naive I could be, you know, to look back when I first started. But I feel so privileged and honored to be in this business, to have incredible partners who are my family, you know, and once again, to have incredible clients who are friends, who are also family is what we feel. You know, so I just feel very blessed is what I feel now with where I am. So that is my why.